Boom, boom, bam. Welcome back to another edition of the Great Debate Show. I'm your host, your favorite uncle in the world, Uncle JJ. And as always, I got something to say. Now, what do I have to say today? Well, I want to talk about NFL top 10 edge rushers currently, not all time. Why? Well, TJ Watt got paid yesterday, and we may finally get this domino effect rolling where the Cincinnati Bengals will come up with something for Trey Hendrickson contract-wise, or they'll go ahead and trade him to someone who will pay him and can afford him. What else we got? We've got Shamar Stewart, the Bengals' other pass rusher, first-round pick. He could very well get signed. Hopefully, I know the Bengals fans would like for that to happen. So things like that, there's a domino effect. Micah Parsons, it's time for him to get paid. Jerry Jones continuing to wait it out to the last damn minute where that contract is going to be even heftier. TJ Watt has now $41 million per. That's the average salary that he gets now after signing a 3-year, $123 million extension on yesterday with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's still reports out there that Micah Parsons is going to top that as well. So we may have the highest, once again, the highest non-football contract. We may have that topped again. Myles Garrett did it earlier this offseason, and now TJ Watt has topped that. And now Micah Parsons, who is next, he may actually top that. The longer the Cowboys wait, the more that's going to take for them to, please him and give him what he wants and what he needs. But they're going to do it. It's going to happen. At 41 per for TJ Watt, I don't know. Maybe Parsons is going to get 42, 43 million per. I don't know. But this is getting really crazy. And that's what happens when you follow the market. And it hurts teams from really competing for a championship. Because when everybody is in line saying, I got to get me, it's hard. It's hard to win a Super Bowl, and that's why we have to give credit to the teams that are able to still win. And the ones that do are the ones who normally win are the teams who don't spend as much. The Kansas City Chiefs hadn't spent a lot of money, and they were almost going for a three-peat last season. Even though the Eagles stopped that, they had won back-to-back championships, and they let Tyreek Hill walk. They let players, walk. And so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. So since we talked about all of that, I just wanted to kind of give you an understanding on why I'm going to start this episode. We're talking about the top 10 edge rushers currently in the NFL. And I'm going to start from the bottom to the top. This week has been a great week as far as lists go. On Monday, we did top 10 quarterbacks. Tuesday, we did NBA top 100. Wednesday, we did top 10 wide receivers. And yesterday, I did top 25 NFL teams in the past 25 years. So if you missed those episodes, please go back and check those episodes out on the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, The Great Debate Show. Just type it in and subscribe to The Great Debate Show on YouTube, and you can see those videos from this week. Not a live stream today. I know my Spotify and my Apple Music listeners will probably be more pleased with that, because live streams and engaging with the audience, that goes from what should be a 45-minute episode at the most to a 2-hour episode at times. But I'm trying to engage with everybody, read their comments, and just really debate, since I have been doing that by myself the past few months due to everybody's work schedule. Now, again, today, my work schedule did not permit me to be live today, but I am normally live weekdays, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on TikTok and YouTube. And I will be back to doing that same thing come Monday. All right, got all of that out of the way. That really does help us out here at The Great Debate Show with the algorithm. If you like, comment, and subscribe to The Great Debate Show on YouTube, and follow on TikTok, Instagram, the Facebook page, The Great Debate Show on Facebook. A lot of great debates on there daily. And also X, formerly known as Twitter. Just type in The Great Debate Show. And on Twitter, it's The Great Debate Show / Watch This Entertainment. All right, top 10 pass rushers. Everybody's getting paid, and a few more players are ready to get paid. So let's start it off at the bottom. Here's my list, and then I'll briefly explain why. I have those players on my list. All right, let's see here. Top 10 edge rushers. I'll start at the bottom. Let's go with Jared Verse of the LA Rams. Everybody has him at number 10. I think that first I need to mention my honorable mention. Will Anderson Jr. with the Houston Texans. I will give him a nod for an honorable mention. I looked at his numbers. I have watched him a little bit. I can't say that I watch him weekly during the NFL season on Sundays, but from what I've seen, he's almost there. And I think this year, with the Texans defense probably being a top 5 defense in the league, he will really show us that he's arrived. So he's an honorable mention. That is Will Anderson Jr. Okay. Also another one, Jacksonville Jaguars, who don't get talked about enough. Josh Hines Allen, better known as Josh Allen, not the Buffalo Bill quarterback, but the pass rusher in Duval County. He came into the league as Josh Allen. Now he's Josh Hines Allen, and he's good too. A small frame, but as far as pass rush ability, he's about as good as it gets, and he's playing on the D-line. Well, he doesn't really have a lot of help over there in Jacksonville. So those are my 2 honorable mentions. Josh Hines Allen in Jacksonville and Will Anderson Jr. with the Houston Texans. And number 10, back to that, Jared Verse in the LA Rams. Look, man, he's good. He's as good as it gets. He's on the rise. And just the fact that he's made the top 10 list, I think maybe for the first time, it shows that he is on the rise. Young, still can get better at the age of 24. He's coming off of Defensive Rookie of the Year honors. And he actually defeated Brian Burns and Nick Bonito in a tiebreaker for the 10th spot. So Verse is good. Very good. He had 4.5 sacks, 17.5% pass rush win rate. That's pretty modest. And he didn't appear on many ballots as a result. But this description of Verse from now retired offensive tackle Teron Armstead is somewhat common around the league. That's Jared Verse. I got him coming in at number 10. Number 9, I'm going with Brian Burns. Brian Burns is a good pass rusher that gets overlooked because of where he's been playing. He was in Carolina. Now he's a New York Giant. And the New York Giants could be a much better defense this year that people are probably sleeping on. And a lot of reasons why they're sleeping on them is because they probably are not familiar with the people that are now on that D-line. They still got Thibodeau. I hope I said that right. Thibodeau. He's still there, even though he may get moved near training camp or before we actually get the regular season kicked off. But as of now, they still have him. They got Brian Burns. They've got the big guy, Dexter Lawrence, in the interior. So they've got some things going on for them. Not to mention they drafted Abdul Carter. I think that he can move up the list even more now, being a Giant. So give me Brian Burns at number 9. Brian Burns has really, like I said, went under the radar. And I think that's mainly just because of the team that he plays for. Number 6. That was number 9, Brian Burns. I'm moving too fast. Number 8, I'm going with Danielle Hunter. The reason being, man, Danielle Hunter is he's been around, it seems like forever, but he's 30, not 32, 33. He's Houston's best pass rusher. Will Anderson is on his way to take that spot, but he has a lot of advantages in upside and age. He was pretty dominant in his 9th NFL season, ranking first in pass rush win rate, 26.4% among players with a minimum of 200 snaps. He also ranked first in pass rush wins, 77, and incompletions credited, 36. So in the later category, no other player is within 7 incompletions created. That's not bad. I remember him as the former Minnesota Viking, Danielle Hunter, and his tenure to produce 28.5 sacks over the past 2 seasons with the Vikings and the Texans, that's a pretty good number, and it's higher than somebody else that I'm going to name on the list a little later, who sometimes, just for whatever reason, I think mainly because of his last name, tends to kind of get a bit overrated or overranked. But Danielle Hunter is not one of them, and I have him coming in at my number 8. Yeah, 28 and a half sacks over the past 2 seasons. That's not too shabby at all. They call him Cyborg. An AFC executive said he's always been an incredible athlete and he's learned to expand his pass rush ability and can win in a variety of ways. So, yeah, now that he beats offensive tackles with a bull rush, or an NBA style Euro step with a spin, you got to give him credit for that. Hunter's 4 pass rush interceptions created were tied for first. So Danielle Hunter with the Houston Texans is my number 8 spot. That would have been great though if I did put Will Anderson on my list. That means they would have had 2 edge rushers on the list, meaning that that's going to be a scary defense come this season. Okay, number 7, Nick Bosa. Some people would think that, oh man, you got him too low. Well, I disagree, because I'm going to give you stats from other players that are, well, just a little bit better. Nick Bosa, 27 years old. Last year, ESPN had him ranked at 4. I don't know exactly where they'll have him ranked this year. Actually, I think he's 5. So he moved down a spot. I'm moving him down a few more spots. He's my number 7. Look, even ESPN has said he's an eye test pass rusher. I use the eye test as well more than I do the numbers. Even though if I looked at the numbers aren't that sweet either. He has 19 and a half sacks over the past 2 seasons. Okay, that represents a mild production for a top 5 pass rusher. Wouldn't you think? Now, again, Bosa's disruption is obvious. He does that, no doubt about it. But his leverage, his explosiveness, power, and polished rush arsenal, some would say they're unmatched, according to an NFL personnel director also. But he's got the same rush moves as his brother, Joey Bosa. And you can take that with a grain of salt because he was all right. I think Bosa's stronger, maybe a twitch quicker, but he still seems just so stiff at times. And he's terrible at read option runs. If he's supposed to go for the quarterback, he goes for the running back. When he's supposed to go for the running back, he dives at the quarterback. He's bad at that. And he needs a pass rusher on the opposite side for him to really shine bright. And he hasn't had that in quite some time. DeForest Buckner's been gone for a couple of years now. You've got Armstead, who's now gone. But when those two were there, he was better. 2021, 2022 is the last year he had good numbers. And that was to get the contract. Now that he's gotten the contract, 23 and 24, in my opinion, were some kind of down years. Again, only 19 and a half sacks in 2 seasons. I'm going to give you some pass rushers in a minute that did a lot better than that. But again, it's not all about the sacks. Bosa does post a 22.2 pass rush win rate, but that's not better than the other numbers that I have already said, who I have kind of ranked behind him. Who was the other guy that I said? Danielle Hunter? His is 26.4. So it does top Jared Verse at 17.5 with the percent pass rush win rate, but not Danielle Hunter, who's at 26.4. So Nick Bosa at 22.2 pass rush win rate, up nearly 4 points from the previous year. So that means it was down even lower than that. His .70 get off in 2024 was the quickest in his career, and it tied with Garrett for the best of the season. You know, that, like I said, get off the line of scrimmage is what they're meaning. Like, I mean, that's okay, but a lot of times that looks like that, but they run plays either right at him or they know they're getting rid of the ball quick, so they'll leave him in one-on-one situations, and it looks like he'll get off the ball that quick, but it's only because they're going somewhere totally opposite with the ball, and he's not going to be a factor by the time that ball comes out. Let's see here. Since 2021, Bosa has generated 121 quick pressures under 2.5 seconds, the 5th most in the NFL during that span. Now, that number says that, but I don't really see that when I'm watching. The eye test doesn't really show me that. But he is still in the top 10, of course. I just got him at 7. And but again, 4 NFL players have at least 60 sacks and 10 fumbles since 2019. That's Watt, Garrett, Bosa, and Hendrickson. Now, they had to go all the way back to 2019, the year Bosa was drafted, though, for him to make that list. Reason being, because they know that the numbers has fell off since the 2021-2022 season. But anyway, Nick Bosa is my number 7. 49er fans, don't shoot, okay? He's good, but he's not great like a lot of people like to say he is. I watch and the eye test tells me that. Another thing that I noticed with Bosa, he never gets sacks or make big plays when needed. It's when they're up. They've got the lead, and now the offense or the op that we're against is one-dimensional. And he can pin his ears back and just go. But when it's, us in our base defense and the op is balanced, you don't know if they're running or passing, he's kind of a non-factor for most part of the game, especially when he's going up against good offensive tackles, future HOFers, like Lane Johnson and the other guy on the other side, Mailata or whatever his name is. I've seen Bosa get mauled by big offensive tackles like that. And he's a big guy for a pass rusher. He's in the best shape. He looks great. But that's just look. He really does not get around the better offensive tackles in this league. But when he goes up against, an offensive tackle that's a little mid, he's going to have a field day. And that's when he gets those 2-3 sack games that really inflate his numbers. So by the time you get to the end of the season and you calculate, it looks like he had a decent year or above average. But he's kind of just been average since he's gotten that contract. And maybe I'm being a little biased because I don't appreciate him getting 32 per and did really nothing for it to earn it. And this season, that bumps up to 34 million per. I wonder, will he show that he's worth that this year now that Robert Saleh's back? We'll see. But I got him at 7. Why? Because these other ones are better, in my opinion. Number 6, give me Trey Hendrickson. Yes, Trey Hendrickson with the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, he is 30, going on 31, or he may already be. He'll be 31 during the season. And the Bengals have not signed him yet. I don't know why not. And I don't know if it's going to happen. But 17.5 sacks for Trey Hendrickson in his second consecutive season, posting that number. I just said Bosa has 19.5 in 2 seasons. This man almost has that amount per season. So just for that alone, he has to go ahead of Nick Bosa for right now. This list is fluid. It can change, but as of right now, Hendrickson is better. Comprised is 49% of the team's sack production. That also says the Bengals don't have defense. There's not enough help on that D-line, just like the 49ers. Why can't Bosa have numbers this good when there's no help? 49% of the team's sack production. I didn't read that about Nick Bosa. He accounted for 32.2% of the team's total pressures, making him the only defender to have recorded a pressure share above 30%. Now, Bosa, I just said 22.2. Jared Verse, I was like 17.5. 32.2 of the team's total pressures. Yeah. With 4 consecutive Pro Bowls and a first-team All-Pro berth, Hendrickson is undoubtedly one of the NFL's best free agency signings of the past decade. And that's why he's sitting out right now. His ability to get to the quarterback by any means necessary is truly impressive, said an AFC scout. And he can beat you with technique, and he has a relentless motor. Now, Bosa, for the most part, has a relentless motor also, but he doesn't beat those guys relentlessly at times like I've seen Trey Hendrickson do. Okay. Some voters believe Hendrickson does not possess the same high-end traits as those in the top tier, but he's so widely productive, they can't hate on him. He is wildly productive, so somehow he gets it done, and that's why he is my number 6 on the list, Trey Hendrickson. Number 5, we get to the nitty-gritty now. Top 5, man, I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson. And I know some people may put him down lower on their list because he was injured last year, but he ain't no running back who has had 8 good years already, and we don't know if he'll ever be the same again. He's not in the same category. And this guy is young. I mean, the brother is young. Aiden Hutchinson is 24 years old. And he could be the next person up to get a contract extension also. But he had an injury. Don't get me wrong. But he's an elite player. So elite that we still can't put him. I can't put him out of the top 10. He only played 5 games last year, but boy, was he phenomenal. Hutchinson led the NFL in sacks before he got hurt. In NFL sacks, pressures, and win rate. All 3. That's the first time I've said that since I started this list. 7.5 sacks that he had. His 7.5 sacks, the first 5 games of the season, were the most for a Lions defender since William Gay in 1982. Wow. That's a long time. He was on his way to the top there with Garrett and TJ Watt, and NFC executives said. And Hutchinson's whopping 35% pass rush win rate was topped by a wide margin. And it is, because I haven't gave you a pass rush win rate that high. I started at the bottom with Jared Verse, 17.5. And then you got Nick Bosa at 22.2. But man, then I went up to 30. But 35% pass rush win rate, yeah, that's a wide margin where he's ahead at. And the next players that are closest to that was Danielle Hunter, who I mentioned earlier. Finished nearly 9 points below him, though. So, yeah, even though Hunter produced his number over a full season, Hutchinson was on the pace for 48 incompletions created. He had 7.5 sacks in 5 games. A lot of people think he might have been Defensive Player of the Year had he not gotten injured. Now, I don't know if he'll jump right back to that this year because he pretty much broke his leg, but I think that he will get close to that, if not. And by the time we get to the midway point in the season, I think you'll see, wet leg injury. So, yeah, number 5, Aidan Hutchinson. That's a bad boy. Had he not gotten hurt, I don't know if we would be saying the Eagles are Super Bowl champions right now. Aidan Hutchinson, amongst a lot of other players on the Lions defense that got injured, that might have been their best shot that year to get to that Super Bowl. I don't know now without Ben Johnson, with Frank Ragnow retiring and all of that. I don't know where the Lions stand now in the NFC. They're still up at the top somewhere, but I don't know exactly where. And they better figure it out, because that window that we call the Super Bowl window doesn't stay open for long. But yeah, number 5, Aidan Hutchinson for me. Number 4, Micah Parsons. Now, I know he's not the best at stopping the run, but he's so good at pass rushing. And he's gotten better at that too. He's so good at pass rushing, though. You can't help but think about anything else other than this pass rushing ability. Yeah, his 126 pressures and 31% pass rush win rate, and that's close to that's real close to Aidan Hutchinson, who I just mentioned. But 31% pass rush win rate since 2023 leads the NFL. He has done this despite facing a 31.5% double team rate. So for the people that are going to tell me Nick Bosa gets double teamed almost every play, that's the name of the game. And you have to be able to find a way to beat that, or at least disrupt the backfield enough to where somebody else can make a play off of you being double teamed. He's double teamed 31.5% of the time. He was in 2024, and that is the highest among edge rushers on this list. He generated a league-high 19.1 pressure rate last season and led the Cowboys with a 24.2 pressure share. That's the 8th highest clip in the NFL, and his pass rush win rate of 25.3 ranked 2nd. And then when I come to the eye test, because I really don't like reading all these numbers, but I need it for a little help, and it helps confirm why I ranked them where I ranked them. But the eye test, Micah Parsons just always kind of pops off the screen more than others, more than Nick Bosa. You always wonder, where is number 11? Not that he's Lawrence Taylor, but if he can keep it going, he very well could beat him before his career is over with. And he's one of those guys that make you wonder, where is he at? Just like you used to do with Lawrence Taylor. All right, he's number 4 on my list. Number 3, the guy who just got paid, Mr. 3-year, $123 million guy, TJ Watt. Has he slid down the list just a little bit? Yeah, I'll explain why when I finish the last 2. But TJ Watt is a bad man. Even at 30 years old, he was able to get another bag. This is his 2nd big one, if I'm not mistaken. The man's got 108 career sacks. That's 3rd all time for a player's first 8 seasons in the NFL. That's behind Reggie White. Reggie White had 124. DeMarcus Ware had 111. And he's at 108. That's some good company to be with, to be next to. He's a near lock for an all-pro team every year, And he leads the NFL in forced fumbles with 10 over the past 2 seasons. Damn. Along with being second in sacks, 30.5, and quarterback hits, 63. Now, look, man, when Dick LeBeau was the DC in Pittsburgh back in the day, offensive outside linebackers had more responsibility than just rushing the passer. Yeah, he's supposed to line up as a 3 technique, but, like, really, do they even drop in coverage anymore? Do they do the same things that you saw Joey Porter and Larry Foote and all those guys doing from back in the old Steeler days under Dick LeBeau? Not so much. Things have changed. So we rank him just like a 4-3 pass rusher now, but he is an edge rusher and he's rushing most of the time. Does he drop back in coverage at times? Yeah, but it's just different now that they, now that there's no Dick LeBeau in Pittsburgh anymore. But man, that's very interesting and impressive. 108 sacks in his first, for his career, and his third all time in his first 8 seasons behind Reggie White and DeMarcus Ware. Those are, like I said, some great numbers to have company with. 10 forced fumbles over the past 2 seasons, 30.5 sacks in 2 seasons. Bosa, I gave you 19.5. That's a big difference from 19.5 to 30.5. And quarterback hit 63. They didn't even have Bosa's quarterback hits on there because he doesn't hit them enough. So I think my list is pretty good. I've got TJ Watt at 3. Why do I have him at 3? Because Myles Garrett, who everyone says is number 1, I think they're probably going by the contract. That may change now in the next couple of weeks now that Watt's contract is higher than Garrett's now, just like that. But I'm going to say Myles Garrett is number 2. He still jumps off the screen when you watch him. He still gets all the double team, triple team, all kind of shit, to be honest with you. And he got another 14 sacks in 2024. Did you know that Myles Garrett is the first player since individual sack totals were first tackled in 1982? He's the first one with 4 consecutive seasons of 14 sacks. That's not easy to do. 4 consecutive seasons of 14 sacks. Whatever 14 times 4 is, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's not what that like 56 sacks in 4 seasons. That's not too shabby. There's a short list of guys that you have to shift your fronts to, and Garrett is the first person that you think of when it comes down to how much of the game plan does he occupy. And every single second on the field, you know what he's doing or what he might do next. Myles Garrett is that dude, no doubt about it. He ranks number 1. He earned at least 70% of the first place votes in back-to-back years. Nobody is quicker off the ball than Myles Garrett, and he reached an average get-off of 0.70 seconds per NFL. Now, that sounds similar to Bosa's get-off. Next Gen Stats has him tied for the quickest among edge rushers with at least 200 pass rushes. That resulted in 40 quick pressures under 2.5 seconds, which is ranked 2nd in the NFL. Man, Myles Garrett is that dude in the eye test. He's got it. He looks like he's up to par. He is up to par. And I got him at number 2. Why? Most people won't agree with my number 1. Some people will probably put him at like 3 or 4. But I'm just going to give you this eye test. I'm not even going to read a lot of his numbers. When I watch that brother, he always disrupts the backfield and he always seems to make a play. Who is that I'm talking about? Las Vegas Raiders edge rusher Maxx Crosby. At only 27 years old. ESPN had him ranked at 5 last year. They've got him ranked at 4 this year. I got him at 1. Crosby is making waves with his pass rush pantheon, vaulting one spot in which of the past 3 years. Outdistancing himself from Nick Bosa and stealing votes from Watt and Parsons. That's tough. But nearly half of Crosby votes landed in the top 3. Yeah. His relentless energy shows up every Sunday. I see that when I'm watching too. He's always making a play in the backfield. If I'm not even watching and I'm doing something and I'm listening, like, wow, I bet you that's Maxx Crosby they're going to say. And it is. Tackles for loss. Even if he doesn't really get the tackle, he assists someone else with the tackle. The eye test just tells me that boy is making plays all the time. And that's another edge rusher who has no one helping them on the D-line, like Trey Hendrickson, like Nick Bosa, it's just him. But he does it better than most of them, in my opinion, at least of right now. I was really impressed with when I saw him, and I thought Antonio Pierce was going to get even more out of him. I thought he had him coached up even more, better. And I think Crosby got paid earlier in the offseason or during free agency. And I don't know exactly what that number was, but I'm sure he's worth every penny of it. His 324 pressures since 2019 are more than any other player by 40 pressures since 2019. And I don't think he came in the league in 2019 or 2020. His relentless motor, skilled rusher, and never wants to leave the game. It keeps it getting better and better, says an NFL coordinator. An ankle injury didn't stop Crosby from recording 100% play time in his 9 of his 12 games played last season. He didn't even play. Wow. He only played 12 games. He averaged 60.4 snaps per game, most among edge defenders. And Crosby's lack of support, as I was just saying, up front only enhances his profile. While Crosby has 59.5 sacks since 2019, no other Raider player has registered more than 10 during that span. Wow. 59.5 sacks since 2019. Let me see when Max Crosby came into the league. Was that his first season in the league? If so, then he's been in the league for the same amount of time as Nick Bosa. Let's see here. That may be right, because I think Bosa's 27 as well. Yeah. May 2nd, 2019 is the date that he joined the Las Vegas Raiders. So yeah, he's been in the league since 2019. Okay. So he's been in the league the same amount of time as Nick Bosa. As I just said, he's got 59.5 sacks since 2019. Nick Bosa is one of the 4 players to have at least 60 sacks and 10 fumbles since 2019 as well. So that is impressive there. So they're right at the same amount as far as sacks go. But the 10 fumbles is impressive for Nick Bosa also. All right, that's it. That's my list, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope that was pretty realistic for you all. Max Crosby is my number 1. And again, he just jumps out the screen when I watch. He's my number 1, Myles Garrett number 2, TJ Watt number 3, Micah Parsons 4, Aiden Hutchinson 5, Trey Hendrickson 6, Nick Bosa 7, Danielle Hunter 8, Brian Burns 9, Jared Verse at number 10. And my honorable mentions were Will Anderson Jr., Houston Texans, and Josh Hines Allen, Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, that's all I've got for today. Next week, I'm coming back, and I am going to hit y'all with some college football. Do I have any college football fans a part of the Great Debate Show audience? If so, we're about to switch it up a little bit and turn it up a notch. Is Arch Manning going to lead Texas to the playoffs, to the college football playoffs? Is he going to be a national champion? Is he going to be the number 1 draft pick? Will he even enter the NFL draft? We'll talk about it. And who do you think are going to be the top teams? Who are going to be the 4 teams to make the college playoffs? Will Notre Dame continue to be good, and will they get back to the national championship? What about the Buckeyes? They're not going anywhere. Is there another team in the Big Ten that can take off? I hear good things about Illinois. I hear that Michigan could be back. What's your thoughts? And in the SEC, which doesn't appear to be the best conference in football anymore, in college football, but Georgia's still Georgia, right? What will Texas do in the SEC? Will Alabama come back? What about LSU? We'll talk about it. I'm going to do some homework myself this weekend, and you all do the same, and some of you don't even need to do it. Some of you can tell me a little bit more about college football. I haven't always been the biggest fan, I'm not going to lie. But, with podcasting, you got to expand your horizons, and I will do better, and I'm going to do some homework this weekend. We'll come back, and we'll talk more college football. And we're also going to hit you up with another list, top 10 list at that, and it's going to be wrestling. Now, I already did top 10 wrestling entrances, the greatest wrestling entrances of all time. I did that last week. And Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, Goldberg. A lot of those people are on that list. But where do they rank on my list? That video is up. Just go to the Great Debate. Go to the Great Debate Show, our YouTube channel. Type in the Great Debate Show and you can find those videos. And this week I'm going to hit you with top 10 greatest finishers of all time. Doesn't matter what promotion, WWE, the old WCW days, NWA, hell, it could be an indie, somebody in the indies. Just tell me what type of move it is. I'm sure you can relate it to somebody that I know on the professional level, and we'll chop it up and we'll debate it. So that's what we're going to do. Do your homework. Who's going to represent in the college football playoffs this year? We'll kind of, take an early look at that and see who's who. And let's see how we can figure out what to expect from Arch Manning when we get more starting games from him. And then we'll flip to wrestling and we'll ask, who's your top 10 wrestling finishers of all time? Yeah, I think that'll be pretty interesting because there's a lot of great finishing moves and, everybody sees it differently. Some things, you got a high flyer off the top rope. You've got somebody who just has a move, that's really good. And you've got spears, you've got jackhammers, and you've got these technician, submission finishing moves. Where do you rank them? Where do you see them at? All of that's going to play a big part to it. So we'll come back and we'll do that next week on a Monday. Again, the Great Debate Show is available wherever you get your podcast. Rate, review, follow. I will be back on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And again, even if I'm not live, the video will be up at that time. Again, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm live weekdays on TikTok and YouTube. And immediately after that, I go straight to X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Great Debate Show on all of those platforms. Hit the thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, and all of that. And you will not miss any content from the Great Debate Show. All right. Friday Night SmackDown tonight. I will be back for the post show, I think. But I don't think Roman Reigns is going to be there. He's scheduled to be at the next 2 Monday Night Raws. I don't think he's going to be on SmackDown now that he's coming for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, or just Braun Breaker. Not quite sure on that yet. I won't be surprised if Brock Lesnar shows up and helps Roman Reigns. I'm only saying that because of the things that Paul Heyman has said. He mentioned the big dog, saying Braun Breaker was going to be the big dog, and Roman Reigns showed up later that night. He also said that Braun Breaker was going to be the next big thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brock Lesnar shows up, even though I didn't expect to see him until the Janelle Grant lawsuit was done. At one point I heard it was settled, but it's still not complete. So I don't know. I didn't think they would touch him with a 10-foot pole until that was over with, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Paul Heyman is not saying his name for nothing and tweeting happy birthday to the Beast, which he done that just a few minutes prior to Saturday night's lame event before it started. I have made a crazy theory on Seth Rollins' injury. If you missed that, go back and find that episode. It is up with the top 25 NFL teams in the past 25 years. It should say that in the description / Seth Rollins theory if you want to know what I think about Seth Rollins and when you can expect to see him again in the WWE. And again, if I'm wrong about that, my apologies to Seth Rollins, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. He is hurt, but it's not as legit as they're saying it is. Okay? So you got to keep that in mind. If it's not what they're saying it is or what they think it is, the knee's swollen, they got to do more MRIs, but he's going to be out for the next 9 months. And even though you haven't really gotten that MRI result yet, okay. Triple H, once again, trying to outsmart the marks in the IWC. At least that's what he calls us. But Triple H can't outsmart us because booking wrestling is not rocket scientist, even though he would probably like to think that's what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gone. I've got some bills to pay and a lot of work to do. Until we yeet again, I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. And don't worry, just because I wasn't live doesn't mean I won't engage with you. I'll look at the comments as soon as I can. And please drop them. Let me know what you think about my list. We can agree to disagree, but be respectful. Let me know what you think about the top 10 finishers. If you want to go ahead and jot them down, go ahead. And somebody on TikTok asked me off the bat to give them my top 5 running backs. And I wasn't prepared to do that yet, but we'll probably do that as well on a Tuesday or something like that next week. Drop your comments and let me know. I will read them. I'll check them out. That also helps me out in the algorithm. All right, y'all. Until we yeet again, y'all be safe out there. Have a great, safe weekend. Peace.